Hello, my name is Elroy Reed, and this is the Urban Town Hall Talk Show. I'm your moderator. We have our usual cohort of hosts and co-hosts. We have Anita Hanna.
Hello.
There you go. We have Lionel Farmer.
Good evening, everyone.
William King.
Hello.
Mitchell Hester.
Good evening.
And Dr. Tara Thomas.
Good evening.
Did I forget anyone? We
Mr.
got
Reed.
everybody. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, for tonight we have three topics we're going to try to cover. One is the anniversary of George Floyd. Two, we're going to look at vaccination updates in our region. And thirdly, we had some highly contested election results that we are going to review and discuss. So let's get started with Mr. Lionel Farmer talking about the anniversary of George Floyd. 1 year ago, George Floyd was murdered before our very eyes. Give us an update.
Well, actually, good evening again, everyone. And just to correct Mr. Reed on one thing, the anniversary has not come up yet. It was actually May 25th when that happened. Mm-hmm. So that kind of makes this a little bit unusual that this thing has gone to trial so fast. Because usually, it can be 2-3 years down the line before it goes to trial. So that's a good thing that it's actually gone to trial this fast. But then the other thing about it is, Ms. Rita said, and this is me saying that George Floyd was murdered on May 25th, Memorial Day of 2020 in Minneapolis by former police officer Derek Chauvin. And then there were, I think, 3 other police officers that were on the scene that were charged also. And, I've been watching some of the trial coverage. And I remember the first day, the very first thing that the prosecutors did, they showed the entire video of, Chauvin kneeling on his neck in the way he did. And then they started showing other video footage from body cams and other cameras around the area and everything. And immediately it was triggering to me. And then one of the first people that I saw that the prosecution team brought to the stand was the 911 operator. And she was saying how she had dispatched the squads to the area and everything. And then she was looking at the city video or their live feed, and she saw Chauvin on Mr. Floyd's neck. And she said it was so long that she thought the audio had actually frozen. And so she actually called a sergeant and said, you need to look at this or something, because he's been kneeling on this man's neck for so long. And so all of that stuff was triggering. And here we are in 2021, and that was just another form of lynching by a police officer. And that was shown worldwide. And so again, here we are in 2021 at this trial. And my personal feeling on this thing, I don't believe he's going to be convicted, because all it's going to take is just one juror that they have to sway. And we know how these trials have gone in the past. We know how they're going to go in the future unless some drastic changes are made. So again, my personal belief is that Chauvin is not going to be found guilty on murdering Mr. Floyd. And so if that happens, and I pray that it doesn't happen, but if that happens, then the other 3 officers, they'll probably get off also. Because what the defense team is actually trying to say now is that don't believe your lying eyes, believe what we're telling you. And also that Mr. Floyd did not die as a result of Chauvin's actions. He died from what was in his system. He died from a heart attack. And even today, one thing that the defense was throwing out, they played the audio when Mr. Floyd was on the ground, and it was from one of the officers' body cameras. And he was playing it over and over, and he was asking one of the witnesses, he was asking him, did you hear what he said? And he was saying that Mr. Floyd said something to the effect, I took a lot of drugs, something like that. He kept saying that.
He put words in his mouth.
Right. He's pushing this narrative that he already planting this seed that Mr. Floyd died from an overdose of drugs. If it wasn't that, he died from a heart attack. If it wasn't that, it was his poor health conditions and all of these false narratives that they all push upon us. And then it goes back to he was a large black man, menacing black man, and Derek Chauvin, the police officer, was only 5'9", 140 pounds. So this narrative is being pushed over and over again, and honestly, it's sickening. And imagine if the young lady, and I think at that time she was 17 and she was with her 9-year-old cousin, if they didn't have the fortitude or just to start recording what was going on. And as we've seen, especially like the one shooting in Chicago, where the officer shot the young man 16 times, all the video that was in that area, how it disappeared. So we're in an era rather, when we have video cameras all over the place, including on the officers, in the cars and everything. But somehow it seems to go back to that one thing: believe what we're telling you, don't believe what your lying eyes are seeing from video.
Yeah, and if I can I jump in, Mr. Farmer, please? I'm like you. I got mad because I've been watching the trial from the beginning, since it started, and I've been kind of like taking notes, and they are blaming the victim. They're blame they are criminalizing a dead man.
Mhm.
They're putting him on trial, George Floyd on trial, instead of sticking with Derek Chauvin on trial. And they're trying to make an example out of George Floyd for the other people, is my opinion. But they've been doing that since back in slavery.
The beginning of time, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they like I'm just saying this, Kunta Kinte. Look, you gonna get your toes cut off, and all the rest of the slaves come and watch, and this is what's gonna happen to you if you run for your freedom.
And it's your fault.
That
Because you got your toes cut off, it's your fault.
You absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's what they're saying. It was George Floyd's fault. One of the things that I saw some of the trial though, and I think this was yesterday or the day before, his commanding officer and the chief of police threw him under the bus, threw Derek Chauvin under the bus. They said that his use of force was unauthorized, was inconsistent with the training.
Yes.
And that he was basically out of control. They threw him under the bus.
Mr. Reed, let me add this one point to tie into what Larnell said earlier. As soon as that defense attorney began to suggest what Floyd was trying to say, the prosecution should have objected. And that's what some of the commentary I've heard from some of the experts today said, you got to get out. You can't even let that linger. And it's unfortunate that it lingered and wasn't addressed right then and there, because you cannot testify as an attorney. And that's in effect what he did when he suggested what Mr. Floyd said, and nobody understood what he said. So it's unfortunate they didn't jump in on that. And the other thing you talked about, if you go back to Walter Scott in South Carolina, I think you guys saw that, where he was shot in the back as he was 50-year-old man trying to run. I could run backwards faster than that, right? He was found innocent. He was not convicted by the state. He was convicted on a federal level and got 10 years for, I think it was civil rights violation.
Correct.
And was not found guilty in the state of South Carolina. So,
But that's because
mhm,
in South Carolina, they adhere, and I'm serious, they adhere to the Constitution that says a Black person is only three of a man. And when he was let go, because I was in law school at that time, they let him go on the fact that he didn't shoot a man. And that's why they had to go to the civil rights, because they went straight to the Constitution. They said, we're adhering to the Constitution. They're not legally a man. And this is one of the reasons I was concerned when President Obama came into office, I wrote him a letter to see if they can amend that. But South Carolina, they adhere to that.
But the
wow.
thing I wanted
That's
to
a
say
fact.
about what Elroy had said about they threw him under the bus. I don't look at it as his superiors or the other officers throwing him under the bus. They did what they were supposed to do. They did
That's
exactly what they
Fair
were
enough.
supposed to
Hey,
do.
Farmer,
They are supervisors. They were supposed to do what they did. As
Tell the
Sean
truth.
was the senior officer on that scene, he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Mhm.
you know, Farmer, I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
And it's not even a question, it's more of an accountability. So if we have individuals out there such as this Chauvin dude, who probably should have never been a police officer, right? If we then hold the supervisors. So all this is about accountability, right? We hold these supervisors accountable. We don't let them get on the TV and say, yeah, that's a bad dude. We pull his derriere into the office and say, this happened under your watch. Why weren't you supervising? See, now what happens is a trickle down effect. Now that supervisor is more apt to be out there and responding to calls and making sure that these guys are in line, you know? We put the onus back on these officers, yes. But if we want stuff to change, we got to go to the administrative portion of it, right? We got to hold those individuals responsible. And it should go way up the chain. Chief, sheriff, what's going on? They report to somebody.
Let
Well,
me
can I
ask
just
you
say
this,
one
Mr.
thing?
King and Mr. Farmer. Here's the question I have for you. In this trial, if Chauvin never testifies,
And he
as I
went,
understand it, they cannot bring into the courtroom his 18 cite offenses that he has been accused of doing things on the force. So
Exactly.
if that doesn't come in, what do you bring the supervisors in on?
the supervisors, they're testifying to the training and what he should have been doing and all of that, you know, the
Right.
technical part of it. But the thing also is that Chauvin, when you're working with somebody, you know how they are, especially in the police world. If you and I, Mr. Hester, are working together and, you know, I hear you come into my car, I'm like, man, I don't want Michael Hester nowhere near me because he's not right. And I know he's going to escalate this situation or anything like this. So Chauvin was not an anomaly. They know exactly who Derek Chauvin was. But what happens is it comes in that the supervisors know and they want to pass it on to somebody else.
Yep.
And so,
Okay.
and then the union step in and the unions are going to protect him. And all these laws that we have with qualified immunity and all this other stuff that protects police officers.
Gotcha.
So they got all this stuff going for him. So it's going to, and I pray that he's found guilty. But I don't believe I believe it's going to be one juror that's going to say, although I saw all of this stuff, he's a police officer, so I'm not going to convict him.
Mr. Farmer, I just wanted to say that maybe he won't be found guilty of murder, first degree. But I think that they have a case for manslaughter and possibly second degree. Would you agree if that's possible?
Well, I know it was third degree and then manslaughter. But
Yeah.
we know he murdered that man. That's all it was.
Oh, no, we know that, but I agree with you. I don't think he's going to get it on first degree because they said that you got to prove that he had malice intent. And he's saying it was an accident. I mean, the six of us know better.
Right.
But I think that they're not going to let him free. They're
Right.
going to probably get him on
believe-
second or third degree or manslaughter. But he's not going to go free.
Yeah, I
don't-
believe they're going to find him guilty of anything because, like I
Oh,
said,
yeah, he's going to be
all it
guilty.
takes is that one juror. And so we notice the juries are stacked with, if it was us, it wouldn't be jurors of our peers or people of our peers. But when it's them, it's people of their peer.
But when you have white men when you have white men in authority, like his
Right.
boss and his boss's boss saying, we don't train them like that, he was wrong, this shouldn't have happened, I think that's going to have a lot of weight to the jury. I mean, I pray to God.
It should, but I don't believe it will.
I just think that when those individuals in administrative positions came on national television and said, hey, we don't train that way, that's on him. No, that's a direct reflection of you. There's one thing I say when I go into work. You know, when I was in investigations, I used to dress sharp, right? And boss used to say, supervisor, my boss, supervisor used to say, hey man, you're looking good. I said, just a reflection of you. Because at the end of the day, when I'm out there and I do something, it's coming back to him, you know, and then he'll pull me in. But it's almost like when we walk outside our house and we tell our kids, hey, represent the family well, right?
That's right.
We're doing the same thing we're supposed to at the police department. Hey, when you walk outside of here, man, represent us well.
Right.
And individuals are not doing that. And we can go on and on about it. Some are not from the communities in which they service.
Most
So they
aren't
don't
anymore.
give a, you know, they don't give a hoot, some of them. And then others think, hey, it's my way or the highway. They got this type A personality and you can't tell them anything. They think they know everything. So you're constantly butting heads. And then we wonder why the community doesn't trust. Man, you riding around with your windows up, 80 miles an hour trying to get somewhere to nowhere. Like, get outside your car a little bit.
And talk to people.
See how,
have an interaction with people. And that's what's gone, because no way on God's green earth can anybody justify a person doing what they did to Mr. Floyd. So we let's jack it up to a police officer. He knelt on that man's neck for almost 10 minutes. And people are screaming at him to get off his neck, you're killing him. This man is pleading for his life. He lost control of everything. You got the humanity was completely gone. And so I've heard things like, if I was there from other people, if I was there, I would have knocked him off. And we know this, Chris. If anybody from that crowd would have hit Chauvin, they would have been, at the very least, they would have been arrested. Chauvin would have been found not guilty of anything because somebody interfered. And at the very worst, that person that interfered would be dead.
That's right.
Would be dead. Because remember, the Asian officer that was there, he didn't even look back. He didn't even look back to see what was going on. And the other officers were holding his legs down. So the lack of humanity for this black man's life, and that's all it is, for this black man's life. And you got crowds around pleading, get off that man's neck. When rescue arrived, they're taking his pulse. He would not get off the man's neck as they're trying to take his pulse. And then when they lifted him up off the ground, you can see he was dead. They throw him on the gurney, put him in the back of the truck. He's still handcuffed as they're trying to work on it. So the lack of humanity in that thing, and again, that's just one situation that's happened. Imagine all the other thousands that happened, let's say, in that week that weren't video recorded anywhere across the country. So this is just, that's why I said, we talked about this before, I'm all for defunding the police and reforming the police, because it's long overdue.
You know,
you're right.
And what's really sad is this is over a lousy $20 bill, which I don't know to this day if it was Confederate or not, if it's counterfeit or not. But I can recall that when I worked retail, when I was an undergrad at Macy's, if we received a bill that we had a question about, give it back to the person and ask him, sir, I don't think I can accept this bill. Okay. But at no time was I told to call the police and have this type of reaction. That little kid, all he had to do is say, you know, I don't think I can accept this bill. But all of this over a $20 bill, which to this day, I don't know if it was counterfeit or not. And even if it was.
Did you hear the thing? If the kid would have lost $20 out of his paycheck if he didn't do anything, then plus.
And so we lost millions of dollars in riots and everything because he did.
Well, it brings up another issue too. That store is another store with somebody outside of our community that doesn't The only reason they're in the community
Yes.
is to make money. Because you notice
That's
the
right.
manager and or the owner, whatever he was, he had that pistol on his side. And I guarantee you, nobody's gonna go in there and try to rob that store because they know that man would kill you in a heartbeat. So you can bring your money in here, but if I say I want you out, you better get out quick because I'm gonna kill you, as we've seen in the past. So it goes back to another store with somebody who doesn't, well, they look like us, but they're not of us, and they don't want us in the store unless we're spending money, and it's
That's
easy
true.
to dismiss us and kill us.
And $20 bills they look so real. Some of them, they're amazing how real they look. I don't know how he made that determination.
Well,
That he had the little light or something. But
But all of
still,
them, everyone that testified.
this is very.
I'm sorry, I
very
was just everyone
interesting
that testified.
dialogue. Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. This is very interesting dialogue, but we've got 2 other topics that we want to cover in this night's show. We want to keep it to an hour.
The AACPG of Lake County reminds you to continue to follow the 3 W's. Wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask as you decide to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Do not let history hold you hostage. Ask questions. Demand answers. Make an informed decision about the vaccine. Register now in AllVax and hold your place in line. Protect yourself and others. To learn more about the COVID-19 vaccine and health disparities impacting Lake County's communities of color, please go to our Facebook page at AACPG Lake County.
Pope's Florist is the place for blooming miracles. We are open. We have moved a half of a block to the east on Grand Avenue. Our new location is 2116 Grand Avenue in Waukegan. We have flowers for every occasion. Special order now for Mother's Day. Pre-order by May 1st and get a 15% discount on all bouquets for Mother's Day. Call 847-263-7673. Ask for Pat or Carmen. Pope's Florist, the place for blooming miracles.
So the next topic that we want to touch upon is the election results. And we had a very interesting election on April the 6th, Tuesday, yesterday, and even more interesting results. And keep in mind, as we share with you who some of the winners were, these are unofficial results according to the Lake County Clerk's Office, and there may be some shifting. Some of the votes were very close, and so if there are provisional ballots, mail-in ballots, or late arriving ballots, these were not counted in the total that was presented last night. So these are unofficial results. However, some of them are so stark that we can pretty much assume that the outcome will be as stated or as posted. So we have 2 people on our panel. Anita Hanna, she's a long-term serving of Waukegan School District School Board member. She received some of the next second highest number of votes for the school board position.
Does that make her vice president of the school board if you get the second highest?
No,
well, she's a former
that's
president.
not how it works.
Well, the school board members get together and elect the president, and it's not based on the number of votes they get.
Right.
And then we have William Chris King, who was a writing candidate for the Zion Benton Township High School in Zion, Illinois. And his results aren't in yet because he was a write-in candidate. But there were 4 positions open, and there were 3 individuals who had their names on the ballot, and there were 2 write-in candidates. So one of the write-in candidates is going to win. We just don't know who that is. And it might be our very own Officer William King. Congratulations, hopefully.
Good. Can I
know you were in
can I start this off?
Absolutely.
And I want to start it off by doing something that I think we should start doing a lot more often, right? And that's congratulating Ms. Hannah
Thank you, Mayor.
and the mayor, Mayor Rockingham on their elections to their seats.
Right.
And we applaud you guys. And please, we put you in office. Well, your constituents put you in office. You know, please keep doing the job that you're doing, and don't pay attention to the white noise.
Absolutely.
Just let it be.
Thank you. And if I may say, welcome everyone tonight who's listening. I want to say thank you. I am humbly thankful that people believe that I will continue to honestly, with integrity, and represent them. And I will continue to do that. And one of the things I'm not afraid of, look, I ain't afraid, and I'm saying it just how I mean it. I ain't afraid to be held accountable. Okay, look, hold me accountable. And it is an honor to just this is my 7th successful election. 7, and you know that is blowing my mind. You know, and
wow, yeah, and those are successive wins, right? Successive.
Oh, absolutely, and contested. And contested. Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
And Mayor Leon Rockingham is like
I forgot we had Mayor Leon Rockingham.
No, I don't think I think he's
that's
got
why I
like
said what I
1,000,000 years.
said.
He's been mayor like what, 30 years?
Hey.
Not quite. Everybody, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to be on the panel again tonight. It's always an honor to be with such distinguished people on the line. You know, again, Ms. Hannah and Mr. King, and you know, just congratulations to all that, you know, are out there and have run for election. I mean, first of all, that's, you know, that's something that, you know, it's not just a privilege, but an honor to be able to run, you know, to try to help your community out and your municipality or your school district out. So, you know, congratulations to all of you. This is my 5th term now, going into office here as mayor. You know, I have served 3 terms also as alderman. So, you know, and that, yeah, Ms. Hannah, and all, you're so true. You've got to be accountable. You've got to be accountable, and you have to be transparent to the community on issues that you're strong and passionate about. Some that you know that they're going to support, and even those that they might not look as well upon. But you've got to be transparent and be honest with all your constituents to make sure that, you know, they know what you know, those issues that are out there are about. So thank you, guys. Mayor
Leon Rockingham won the mayor's seat with 83% of the vote. And his competitor, we won't even call his name, came in with 16% of the vote. So that shows something about how the people in the city of North Chicago view the leadership. That just with resounding numbers came out and say, we want this leader to continue.
And so, the progress that North Chicago has made.
Yeah, tremendous progress. Mayor, can you share with us just real quickly some of the exciting things that are going on? You've got the largest naval base in the world, I believe, right in your back door. Mayor, are you still there?
Not only the greatest naval training center. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only the greatest, but the only recruit training center in the United States is here in the city of North Chicago. And, you know, anyone that joins the Navy for boot camp comes here to North Chicago and to Lake County. You know, and I'm not ashamed to say that it's a Lake County, because we all take advantage of these recruits that come into our community, you know, to be trained, and they're training for us to be safe. I mean, that's what, you know, they're there. They're out, you know, once they get training and go out, they're risking their lives just like as, you know, to make sure that our country is safe. But, you know, just a few of the things that are going on in here in North Chicago. You know, we've got quite a few economic development things that are coming. Harold's Chicken is planning to open on Friday. So everybody get your taste buds ready. Harold's Shrimp and Chicken is going to be opening. We have Starbucks that is going to be coming on Green Bay Road. Their plans are already into our building department, and they're going to be coming shortly. George's Fresh Market is going to be coming to North Chicago. And, you know, one thing, and I'm glad to hear, and some people don't even realize it, it's a company called Ricky Rockets. It is a truck stop out on 41. They're going to be developing a 7-acre truck stop out on 41, just south of Speedway gas station. Now people wonder, well, what good is a truck stop? Well, when you got truckers coming in to fill up their diesel fuel in a community, those are dollars. Those are motor fuel dollars that is coming into North Chicago that will help to, you know, keep our budget balanced. To have that large of a facility to come into, you know, any community, those fuels those truckers are out there on that road, knowing that, you know, this is a stop that they can make, you know, brings in dollars. So, you know, I'm very proud to see that's going to be starting up in the next few months to be developed. And then, you know, one of the other things that we have been working very hard over these years is that we have what we call our blight busting effort throughout the city of North Chicago. We have actually taken down almost 30 houses that were dilapidated and were unable to be rehabbed. What does that do? It brings that neighborhood back up. You know, you can get rid of a blighted house in a block. That whole block now is the value of all the homes continue to go back up.
Right.
Now, so we've got 30 houses that have been taken down, and what that also does is now you've got a piece of property that can be redeveloped, bring a new structure, a new house in, and again, the assessed valuation of the houses around it continues to go up. So, you know, there's a lot of positive things that are going on here in the city of North Chicago.
Well, I want to share 3 other things real quickly that the mayor did talk about. They have an award-winning water plant that supplies water to not only the city of North Chicago, but to several organizations in the region. They have 2 of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world are located in and around North Chicago. And they have one of the largest medical schools in the nation here, training new doctors, Rosalind Franklin Medical Center, which is located in the heart of the city of North Chicago. So we've got some great things going on in the city of North Chicago, and we've got a great mayor who's leading the charge in it all.
Mayor Rockingham, just help me out. I want to make sure I understood this right. Did you say Harold's Chicken was coming to North Chicago?
Harold's Shrimp and Chicken is coming to North Chicago.
From Chicago, Illinois?
Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, I grew
Shrimp
up
and
on
Chicken
that.
is coming to our community. You don't have to drive all the way down to Chicago to get your chicken. You just come right over to North Chicago.
When I go see my mom, I stop at Harold's.
Now, what is the address of Harold's? Where are they located? I'm going to go there Friday. Where are they located?
14th and Lewis.
14th.
Oh, okay.
14th and Lewis. is right there at the Paris Banquet Center. They've got their business is located in that same building.
Where
So-
the Paris Banquet Hall is?
Yes.
Okay, I know that.
Hey, Mayor, I got a bit of a tough question for you.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Here it is. I've heard
Guys.
nothing but good things in the area about North Chicago. I mean, I go to the barbershop and all they're talking about is, hey, we're growing.
Yep.
And you guys are. Take my hat off to you because it's been a process and you guys have stayed the course. How do you then get your school district to meet?
Let me say something. The report just came out. North Chicago's numbers have gone up.
Yeah.
And they've surpassed Zion. I say that I'm a Zion administrator, and I was shocked. So they have somebody, and Mayor, correct me, North Chicago Community Partners.
Yes.
They started something about 7 or 8 years ago. They went back to the basics, to the first grade. The other grades had to graduate out, Mr. King. And they went back to the basics and they built on their preschool, on their kindergarten, on their first grade. And this one class, this one group they modeled. And I went to my superintendent last Thursday and said, we need to go back to the basics, just like North Chicago. North Chicago is improving, believe that.
Yes. Dr. Thomas, you're exactly right. And that's what they've done. They went back to the basics. You've got to teach the children at a young age so they can continue to grow that mind, as they develop. And that's what they've done. North Chicago Community Partners came in. Yeah, they had to been, 8-9 years ago at least. And they said, one of the things that they came in and said, through their foundation, they said they've always looked towards the south side of Chicago. And their foundation is based here in Lake County. They said, why are we going outside of our own county and should be coming back and working to help our own, communities? And that's what they did. They started to partner with us and the District 187, and they've been doing a fantastic job.
And in addition to that, Mayor, they just partnered with, Teachers Across America. Teachers Across America just came in. They wouldn't come to Zion. We tried to get them, but they went to North Chicago because of the North Chicago Community Partners. And honest to goodness, Mr. King, I hope to goodness you do get on the school board. We need to do this because it's working in North Chicago for sure.
It is, and now we've partnered with ADV. And that $40 million Neal School, Neal Math and Science, drive by it now. It's already under development. They plan to have that up and running by the end of the next school year, and I see it happening. The parking lot will be completed, shortly, and they're going to be starting right on the on the building. So a $40 million new school. It's something. It's not the building, but it does help the children when they can go in and see that they're not in a 60-year-old school. That it's new, it's modern, it's it helps them feel pride in themselves as they learn. So that's the next thing coming, and it prepares them for high school and on into higher education from there. So I think you're going to see this school district continue to turn around. And as the school district turns around, so does the city. It all centers around, everyone's part of it.
Well, on the election that occurred yesterday in the city of North Chicago, again, Mayor Leon Rockingham won with 83% of the vote. In the ward, there are 4 other races in the city of North Chicago, actually 5. Alderman for Ward 1 was won by Michael R. Jackson. Carl Evans was reseated for Ward 3. Kenneth Smith won for Ward 5, and Kathy January was reseated for Ward 7. In the clerk's office for the city of North Chicago, Lori Collins returns, and she was the incumbent. So she was returning. And then you have a new face in the city of North Chicago for the treasurer, Vance Dwayne Dane Wyatt. He is the new treasurer for the city of North Chicago. A lot of great things going on.
Thank you.
Mr. Reed, what January, you say Charles January?
Charles January ran against the mayor and lost. He came in with 16% of the vote.
Oh, no, you said
his wife, Kathy January, is a current alderwoman for the city for the Ward 7. And she re-ran and was reseated. Now that's a small ward. She only got 9 votes, but that was sufficient to put her back in the spot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And let me just say that in order to move a city forward, you have to have the support of the city council. And I'm very proud to say that our city council has continued to help move the North Chicago forward. Do we have sometimes we have discussions? Yes. I mean, and I think they're usually good discussions to make sure that we're all on board and is aware of what we're planning on doing. So my hat's off to my city council. I'm so proud. We've got some new members that are coming on. Michael Jackson, I did appoint after the passing of Ernest Fisher, and then Kenny Smith because Torrance Markham, who was the alderman at that time, did not rerun. So, but I think we've got a council that is looking out for our community.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that, Mayor Rockingham. I've been watching your development going on out there in North Chicago, and I'm amazed to hear I knew based on some records and looking at the ISB and stuff that the students in North Chicago were coming up, and that really helps.
Yeah.
Their charter school a couple of years ago was the #1 charter school in the state of Illinois.
And Learn's numbers are still very high.
Yes.
Well, but what I want to ask, I have a question for you, Mayor. Has there ever been any kind of discussion with the Tri-City mayors coming together, talking about things going on, coming up with ideas, helping each other, reaching out, simply because of the common positions that you all are in, and because we 3 cities are in such close proximity to each other. And I was just wondering about that.
Well, Anita, if you don't mind, let me interrupt there. And I think that's a great question. And I think that we should table that for another discussion for another week because we're running short on time and we need to go ahead and cover the other election results from the region.
Okay.
Can I get your agreement on that?
But my quick answer though is yes. And when we get a chance to discuss it further, I'd be more than happy to come back on and talk about
It's
it.
important, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's a good segue into the other results. In Waukegan, we had some turnover in the leadership there. The incumbent mayor, Sam Cunningham, lost to 9th Ward Alderman Ann Taylor. She came in with 55.3% of the vote to Sam Cunningham's roughly 44%. The city clerk returned Jane Kilkelly, and the city treasurer returned John Schwab. That's in the city of Waukegan.
Yeah.
What think you guys about this turnover? So there's a lot of internet chat, a lot of Facebook chat about, we lost a Black mayor. There's some people are happy about it. There's others saying, oh, whoa, we didn't support the black mayor that's there that we had. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'd like to say that just because, and this is just the principle that I live by, just because our official happens to be black,
That's right.
that doesn't exempt them from properly representing and respecting the authority that has been given to them to represent the people. And just because you're black, that does not mean that. To me, that's kind of plantation thought, a mindset. If I'm just because I'm black, if I'm doing all the wrong things and it's not doing anything to progress the city or whatever office you're holding, why are you there just because you're black? That makes no sense.
Anita, I think that you're right, and and I'm neutral as far as holding an opinion here, but I'm hearing a lot of chatter on Facebook, and people are upset because they're posturing that there was insufficient voter turnout, but there were also some issues that many African Americans did not vote for the incumbent. And many of them saying that they felt that they were disrespected as individuals, that there was insufficient work done within the community that would have helped the African American community. And so there are a lot of pending issues that were out there. And so there was some disenfranchisement with the current mayor. And that's why that people are saying that they actively, campaigned against him. These are African Americans. So, there's a saying that, every dog has his day. And so when you get your day, you need to perform. And that's not necessarily doing things. Well, I look at the model that we have in Mayor Rockingham.
Incoming call. Press Uconnect button to answer.
Who was that?
Mayor Rockingham has a call.
Okay. At any rate, there is some discussion out there that there was a deficit in leadership is the reason that happened, not because he was black, but because there was some leadership issues.
And here, the question I have with that, and I know I'm jumping in, I'm sorry, my internet been going in. So I've never heard of Ann Taylor, right?
Me either.
I've lived in Waukegan forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of Ann Taylor. So when I hear of Ann Taylor, and then I hear why people are pushing her, I felt sad. I was really disappointed. The connection she has, I mean, she's an alderman, so somebody voted her in, right? Where she stays, they were right. Technically, yeah, that's Waukegan, but everybody knows, yeah, that's Libertyville. I mean, it just is. So when do you go down to the south side? I mean,
but see, Chris, the question is, okay, if you go to the south
King,
side,
can you explain that? What do you mean that where she's?
Well, there's two issues there, King. Number one, the issue is, I don't think the issue among African Americans was we're going to vote for Ann Taylor because she's good and great and she's going to do all these wonderful things. It was an anti-Sam Cunningham vote, is what I'm hearing. It was people voting saying, we want you out because you did not represent us well. You did not have our best interests at heart. And that's why we're not voting for you. That's what the conjecture is out there. It's not so much Ann Taylor is great. Right. It was an anti-vote
So lesser
against,
of two evils is what we're talking about?
huh?
Lesser of two evils? I just, you know what? I
I'm
never
saying-
knew what
I'm not saying
Sam,
you're right.
every time that I've called Sam, let me stop that. And that's the problem right there. Just what I said. Every time I call Sam, I should be addressing him as mayor. Because that's the position he's holding. We do not respect each other.
Absolutely.
In
Period.
positions of authority.
But you know
And
what, Mr.
when-
King, you're right, but I know Mr. Leon, Mr. Mayor Rockingham personally. No matter where I am, and he's known this for the last 12 years, I will never address him in public without calling him mayor, ever.
Absolutely.
And he knows that. But I did that with Mayor Cunningham as well. But some of us become too familiar.
Mhm.
And we're like, oh, I remember you when you win. Well, you know, my son just graduated from medical school. And now people call him, you know, Dr. Thomasville. But I still look at him as little Christopher. But when I go out, even though he's my son, I will address him as Dr. Dr. Thomasville, because that's who he is. But we've got to learn, like you're saying, Mr. King, to start respecting us and being and happy for us to achieve this. Our kids are coming up now, and they're taking over where we left off.
Right.
And they are becoming the next Mayor Rockingham and the next Mr. Reed. That's just who they are. But we have got to learn how to respect.
And
Just
that
like
goes at
my
all
district.
levels. You know, people in elected positions are there to serve the community.
Absolutely.
They are not there to serve themselves. And
That's
so respect goes both ways.
Yes, sir.
Many African, and I've talked to them, many African Americans that live in the city of Waukegan, that do business in the city of Waukegan, actively campaigned against Sam Cunningham because they felt that they were disrespected and they were not advocated, even if they had been white, that their businesses, what they were doing in the community was not appreciated, respected, or advocated for by the mayor. And so that's the issue. It's not, in my opinion, it's not the issue of, we got to support the black man. We did support the black man. We got out there and got him in office, but his performance in office was substandard or below expectations. And therefore there was an anti-Cunningham vote rather than a pro-Cunningham vote. That's the issue. It's not, we lost a great black man. That's not the issue. And I think that we have to start looking at the issues as the issues and stop dancing around them, even though I'm dancing around them. I'm not calling any names or talking about anything specific, but we can no longer vote for somebody just because they're black. We got to vote for someone who's serving the community and is making positive strides and helping people. Yes. And once you get beyond that, you're lost. You're not doing that. And that's what I can say. And I can look at other examples of other people in the region who are doing that. The mayor of Gurnee just, Christy, I can never pronounce her last name.
Kaborik.
Yeah, Kaborik. She did not run again. And she had done a fabulous job as the mayor of Gurnee. But you know what she did? She supported the vice mayor, Mr. Hood, and campaigned for him and set the stage so that he could be successful. So,
did he win?
And he won.
Oh, wow.
He won. Yeah, Thomas Hood won. So and Andrew Harris was the city clerk who also won. So you've got to demonstrate leadership in your position if you want to maintain that position. It's not automatically guaranteed because you're black. We can have anybody in there that's black, but as it happens, Ann Taylor, and I don't know her from Adam, never met her before in my life. I've talked to her briefly on the phone. That conversation didn't go like I thought it should have. But and I have to say that I don't live in Waukegan, but I live in Lake County, and I have a vested interest in the welfare of the entire region. So it's important to me who is in office. So
can you explain what South Waukegan is? Mr. King said that she's barely in Waukegan. What did that mean? For those who don't know.
I'm getting more what I was talking about was more like Southeast. I'm talking about the set. I'm talking about the south side of Waukegan. Talking about over there, Utica, off there on Martin Luther King.
First Ward.
Well,
Yeah.
in Waukegan, from a historic perspective, there was a market street where all the Black people lived. In Frog Island, there was segregated areas in Waukegan, and they were the southwest side. They were down the
Who was that
south
barbecue
side,
shop back there?
all
Was
the
that
way,
later?
all the
Later.
way to the border of the city of North Chicago, and so historically, those are depressed areas, drug houses. Broke down public housing. So there was
Not Frog Island, not Frog Island. That was not
well,
that was not blighted or
well
any,
that's
that
what
was the up and
that's where they
coming.
moved. That's where Black folks moved to when they left Market Street. But make a long story short, there's a segment in Waukegan that Sam Cunningham lived in. That was his ward. That's what he represented, and that community was considered blighted, and largely Black. And so when William King, I believe, when he made that assertion, he was saying she didn't come down to the Black hood. Is in essence what he was saying in my vernacular, and he's right. She didn't. She didn't even appeal to the African American community, in my opinion, and that's the conversation I had with her. She appealed to white voters, she appealed to the Hispanic voters, and she appealed to African American voters who had some disenchantment with the current mayor. So I think that's the scope and the dynamics of what was going on in that election. I hate to see an African American not return to office, and I hate to lose that post. But we can't just automatically say it. That person deserved that just because they were Black, or they're in there, so we got to keep them. No, we need to put the right person in there that's going to help everybody, and including the African.
Doesn't that go back to accountability, like we said before? It goes back to accountability. And then the thing is, because what Mr. Reed has said, what I've started doing is like Mr. King said, he had never heard of Ann Taylor, and it was a couple years ago. I had not heard of her, and being from Waukegan, I said, okay, let me find out who she is. So I found her phone number and I called her, and we talked for 2.5 hours. So that was about 1.5 years ago, and we were just talking about different things going on in Waukegan. And so then I heard she was running for mayor, and so I messaged her. And then about a week later, she responded and said she apologized for not, returning my message. So I don't know if she remembered me or not. But then I asked her to give me a call. She called me up, and I talked to her again for 2.5 hours. And I was asking her all kind of questions about what are your plans? What are you going to do with this, that, and the other? All kinds. And so, again, it just, to me, it's accountability.
Right.
And it goes back to, like Mayor Rockingham is on this call now, and I think we had said it early on in the at the beginning of this broadcast, was any of us, if we get into an office, we should have at least that ability to call that person up if we leave a message for them to return that call.
Right.
Because I know I've known Sam for, over 30 years, or Mayor Cunningham for over 30 years, so you just expect a little bit more of somebody that's in office, especially when you've known them for a long time and you're from the same neighborhood.
Right.
I'm not from
Well,
the same
let me give you one
He
example.
always returns my calls. He
Yeah,
always.
what is it that people are disenchanted about? What would
Well,
they
let me
do?
give you an example, Mitchell.
One specific example.
I'll give you one. One of the things that was, because I investigated and I talked to these people. One of the big issues is that and I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say that the city of Waukegan has about $770 million in annual purchasing power or contractual services that they contract out on an annual basis. Less than 1% of that goes to African Americans or even Hispanic vendors. Less than 1%. So what Ann Taylor was proposing was that she create a purchasing department and or committee to look at better way and see the preponderance of Waukegan is a minority. However, the preponderance of the contracts are going to white vendors. And so one of her proposals was to go back and reevaluate that and equally distribute the contracting by looking at new people or reletting some bids with a focus on distributing that among African Americans. One example was there was an African American who had a contract with the city for that was over $1 million. Well, when Sam Cunningham got in there, he reduced that contract to significantly to 10% of what it was. The two of the director level people in City Hall, when Sam Cunningham became mayor, he terminated and replaced them with whites. So his leadership team is all white. So he did not work on behalf of the African American community, trying to uplift, trying to identify problem areas, or even rebuilding his own wards.
So at the very least, it was simply that he didn't look at the whole city.
Well, in my mind, I'm going to call it maturity. What's going on? But somebody's making some sounds there. And not personal or individual maturity. I'm looking in terms of professional business maturity.
Acumen. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and acumen, saying that, okay, I'm the leader now. Let's make things right. If there's been historic discrimination, there's been historic things that have happened negatively in the city, let's fix them. Well, he didn't do that. He maintained the status quo or did worse.
Even went regressed. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or did worse. So those are the issues. It's not personal. There was another.
It shows sound like.
Huh? Say what?
It shows sound personal from a whole different, from all sides. My personal opinion, it sounds very personal. So say it's not personal, I've been following this stuff, and I'm disappointed in the way we conduct business out on social media. First. Second, it was personal. It very was. You took something from me, and because you took that from me, now this is going to be the result. And I'm not singling one person out. It's many people that said that, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Bill King. Bill King, I am saying that there are many people who saying that that this didn't impact me, so I'm taking myself out of the picture. And so you're confirming really what I'm saying is that I could probably give you 10 people who said that we did not benefit, African Americans who say that we did not benefit by Sam Cunningham being in office. And we can use his name because he's a public figure and without being sued. And we're basically saying, and this is the public square. So it's our moral obligation to address the issues of the day. And if you got a leader that's doing that to everybody, and it is personal, and therefore you can't slap somebody. From a Christian perspective, you turn the other cheek. But you slap some people, they're gonna slap back.
So, Mr. Reed, did those people benefit under the ex-mayor, or with the same individuals you're referring to? Did they benefit under the previous mayor, and are they going to benefit, or do they feel they're going to benefit under the incoming mayor?
Well, to answer your question, those people were in business in their capacities before Sam Cunningham came in office, and when he came in office, they lost step. So they were set back because of him being in office. Now, but I'm actually looking at, and they believe that Ann Taylor will correct some of those wrongs based on her campaign platform. And so that's why they advocated for her when I got people to vote, for her. These are African Americans. So he lost African American votes. Now, I'm from Arkansas, and Bill Clinton won for governor of Arkansas when I was in high school. And he was full of himself, and he thought he was doing a great job. And he did some things that adversely impact the people of Arkansas. He put a tax on cars, on sales tax on cars. Bill Clinton lost the next election because of that. But he learned his lesson, and he came back and won for governor of Arkansas on the next election. He told the people, he said, I made a mistake. I goofed up, but I still want to be your governor. He came back and won, and he won 2 more times. And the next thing you know, he was president of the United States. So I'm not saying that this is a be all end all of Sam Cunningham. He has some virtue, and if he will learn from his mistakes, he can be successful in the future. But he needs to learn from his mistakes. And I can vote for him in the future. If I lived in Waukegan, I would vote for him as long as he was willing to learn that he is serving the people, and the people are not serving him.
Okay.
Okay.
Well said.
Well, we aren't going to be able to get to our next topic because we're out of time. So let's do a round table. Everybody has a rebuttal if they want.
Roy, one quick thing about the next topic, and it's less than a minute.
Okay.
As of April the 12th, everyone 16 and older is eligible to receive the vaccine. So you're talking about next Monday.
Right. That's good news.
Excellent. I got mine. I got both shots, Moderna. So I am vaccinated, and hopefully nobody will give it to me, and I can't give it to nobody. How about you guys?
Friday will be my second.
Okay.
I'm totally vaccinated, and I'm past the 2-week thing so I'm totally vaccinated.
I saw a picture where Mayor Rockingham was vaccinated as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that too.
I've been totally vaccinated for almost 3 weeks now, and
Me too.
I will say that everyone still needs to be all vax for the Lake County.
Yep.
North Chicago still has the green belt. If people want from Waukegan, North Chicago, and Beach Park, and I believe Zion now also.
Yep.
Can
Zion
call,
too.
the North Chicago community partners and, get registered for the vaccination.
Very good.
Excellent. Anita.
I have my vaccination, and that was why I was asking about the 3 different companies, because I got the Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson.
Really?
Yeah,
So
I got.
you only get one shot.
You only have one.
Yes, and the high school or the school district partnered with Walgreens and a couple other pharmacies, but and Lake County, and we offered the shots at the high school. And you guys look, spread it around. Immunity in the community.
I like that.
Oh, you go, girl.
When we can do
But Miss Hannah,
always coming up with something.
so I'm gonna ask a question.
Mr. Farmer said he hadn't gotten any shots.
I saw that.
Are you going to, or
I have neither.
what's your story?
At first I said definitely not. Then I started listening to, like I told you guys before on another broadcast, I was having a hard time just finding a Black doctor. So I started listening to a lot of Black doctors, and I just hadn't come out to get it yet. And I say yet, both ways. But then I had COVID back in September. And, but I had very, very mild symptoms. I mean, it was just, I had colds that were worse. So it's
You've got things you're evaluating. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what I do is I don't talk of like things that I think I know.
Okay.
I always refer back to fact. So I don't
Amen.
sit here and guess about anything. So when we talk about the definition of
Come
vaccination,
on.
treatment with a vaccine to produce immunity against a disease.
Right.
You have to
That's
understand
what
what all
vaccination
those words are in the context of whoever's writing that definition. 'Cause I'm telling you.
Y'all a tough crowd, man. Y'all a tough crowd.
I just want to say goodbye, but before I do, I want everyone to know that the new CEO of Walgreens is an African-American woman from Detroit who went to high school with my friends. And she's the new CEO, president of Walgreens. Her
Wow.
name is Rosalind Brewer. I'm going to try and get her on this show. She's from Detroit.
Outstanding.
Okay, well, let's get on the show. Let's get her on the show.
I'm working to do that. I'm trying to send her some flowers and take her out to lunch. She is from Detroit. She's actually from my neighborhood, live around the block. So
Okay.
I'm excited to see that somebody from Detroit made good. Prior to that, she was president of Walmart, of Sam's and Starbucks. So she has a phenomenal background, Ivy League, all that stuff. And she's African-American. Let's support her as we can. I think she lives in Winnetka, but that's okay. I think that's Cook County, right?
Well, Walgreens headquarters is in Lake County. It's
Yeah.
a different-
But I think she bought a home, is buying a home. I'll have to talk to Rosalind. I tried to get her to buy in Lake Forest, and that way she'd be in Lake County, but you know. But anyway, she's with us and she's good people.
All right.
Her husband's African-American. He's also very successful, and I'm really proud. And I do want to get her on the show.
Okay, excellent. We're gonna hold you to that.
Okay.
We're gonna.
I
Hold
heard you, Mr. King.
What'd you say, Mr. King? What'd you say?
he got some chat going on there. That's gonna be
Yeah.
a little secret.
What did you say, Miss Hannah? What did you
We
say?
just know, just
Yeah.
a little banter. That's all.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, we want to thank everybody. We've had a live and a lively show tonight, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We want to thank Anita Hanna, Dr. Jacqueline Thomas, Londell Farmer, Mitchell Hester, William Chris King, and the Honorable Mayor Leon
Yes.
Rockingham for joining us tonight. You've been watching the Urban Town Hall Talk Show. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Congratulations, Miss Hannah, again.